Hello and happy gaming, everyone. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and I more or less have my build already. I didn't practice this one, but as you can see, just about everything I have is sword related. So we will be the Wizard of Swords. Oh, of course, now that I started recording, now the dog wants in my room. Riley, you're a jerk. Alright, so how do we want to set up the Wizard of Swords? Now, just about everything I have is multi-hit, and I think this is going to be my best bet. Now, as far as my offense is concerned, do I want to go with greater damage, or do I want to ramp up my critical hit chance? It's not the easiest choice in the world, but I think I'm going to go with critical hit chance. And I would take Dark Katana, but not everything I have is necessarily... Hold on. Pardon me. Not everything I have is necessarily melee, so Dark Katana wouldn't work. And Singing Bowl will make sure that one spell is for sure a critical. I'm not always going to be doing it that way, though. Yeah, I do think this is the best option. Alright. So, I'm not putting a huge restriction on myself on what spells I can take, because looking through it, there aren't a whole lot of things that are honestly very sword-like at all. So, we are just going to see what we find that ends up being effective. 7-Up. Alright. As per usual, I'll go right first. I don't know why I almost always go right first, I just do. It's funny is that when I actively try to break the habit, I don't know, it just feels weird. Alright, so the mission of this run is quite simple. It's to use what I have to keep enemies at about mid-range so that I can clock them over and over again with my blades. I guess I'm picking that up now. I wasn't intending to, but there we go. Yeah, I'm not stopping the run just for that though. Screw it. I'm just going to move forward. Considering that my signature doesn't do absolute crap tons of damage anyway, maybe it won't be so bad. Oh, really? Yes, really, fool. Yeah, he doesn't care. He's just like, a frame 1 projectile? Why not? There's nothing you can do to stop me, because fuck you. Essentially, that's what he said to me, is yeah, I know you're in the middle of hitting me, but fuck you, I can do what I want. Alright, so this setup is working rather well right now, but I can easily see things taking a turn for the worst if I don't watch what I'm doing. So, I'll just have to be a little extra careful. Alright, so far so good. Between the Frost Blades doing the freeze effect, the Piercing Void spell holding things at bay, and the Frost Scimitars doing their job, I've got a lot of things to hold the enemies back with, and I'm loving it. I feel like I'm in control right now. I hope I continue to stay in control. Now what would be really nice is I could find the other half of the perfect time crystal, and we'll just get a nice big old buff signature. Yeah, big old buff signature. Taste that shit. I think Darkseid just said he thought the spell tasted like chicken. I think something's wrong. Should we call someone? Nah. We'll just let that burn itself out. That level of crazy doesn't stick around very long. Oh, so you think. Okay, thought I dodged in time, but oh well. Yes, Frost Scimitars, bring them to me. I will show them the error of their ways by hitting them in the face with a sword. I am the Wizard of Swords. So you mean you're a fighter? No, I am the Wizard of Swords. What an odd wizard. Oh, Wanka, who's he? Airborne Slam. Well, to be fair, this does give me a nice approach option, as well as a nice I gotta get out of here option. Let me see what else is available, though. I would love it if Anders were selling some good relics. I was secretly hoping, you know, like the one I was really looking for. No, couldn't be that lucky. Slightly increases all damage dealt. Well, we're gonna take Cabby's chocolate for sure. And then it's just kind of between the Sparrow Windstone or the Chaos Scanner. Now, to be fair, the damage up from this is not very large, so right now I'm really not thinking it's a good idea. And whereas having the health bars for all the enemies revealed is a nice luxury, in the long run it's just that, a luxury. Other things are likely to help me survive, so I think I'll rather have those. Alright, so actually Airborne Slam does make for a nice heavy damage option that I can just leap in with. I like it. I don't like how the volatile crystals messed with my signature, though. So I'm looking forward to finding the other half of the perfect time crystal. See ya, sucker. Ha. I'll just kind of sit there and watch you guys get juggled around. I don't need to do any work. The hell with it. Frost Scimitar's got my back, baby. I'm sounding real cocky right now, but I know that as soon as we get to the higher levels, things probably are not going to go so well. So I need to make sure I maintain this momentum while I can. Alright, Cool. Oh, hey, freezing spray. Alright. I now have a little fairy helping me. I have no problem with this whatsoever. And this isn't something I've brought up before in my videos, but when it comes to fantasy creatures, I have a bit of a soft spot for fairies. I don't know why, I just sort of do. Something about their very cute appearances and their diminutive size. I don't know, I just like fairies. Like, to the point where I even forgive Navi for being her usual annoying self. She didn't bother me that much. I know she was terrible to a lot of people. It's just she never knew when to shut up. But to her credit, she was definitely trying to be helpful. It's do I have anything here that I want to buy? I do like Firewall. I think enhancing Razor Burst is a good idea. Vortex lasts longer. Yes, that's definitely a good idea. Yes, that's gonna help. Ah! This crap! These things flying at me! Beautiful. Alright. You offering me anything good? Well, Glass Cannon is okay, but I think while my health is still good, I'd rather not drop my maximum health. Really? That's all as far as I went to find the... Wow. I took the longest possible way around to find the boss chamber. Not that I knew where the boss chamber was to begin with. Now, when it comes to other fantasy creatures that are really interesting that I know a lot of other people like, I'll just kind of scroll down the list of fantasy creatures that I know my friends and I really like. I know that one of my buddies is a big fan of sphinxes. I have no problem with sphinxes. They're interesting creatures. Matter of fact, I'm not against playing a sphinx as a player character race if it's a possibility. It just kind of depends on the game whether or not it is, but yeah, I have no problem with sphinxes. Just for some reason, I like fairies a little bit better. Anders, what do you have for me? Why not have anything good? Not even going to Atlas's place this time, so I don't even need the gummy vitamins. Increases damage for a short while after taking damage? Yeah, that actually sounds about right. You can take that. Hold on while I destroy this Grand Summoner for having the audacity to get in my way. And we're good. Sundial, what do you do again? There's a 10% chance an Arcana won't go on cooldown after use. Neat. Alright, cool. Moving on. Elves, nothing wrong with elves. They're kind of all over the place. If you have a fantasy setting, you almost have to have elves. It's like a law or something. Gnomes. I actually have an interesting story about gnomes for those who aren't a part of my gaming group and world. So, at one point or another we were hosting the Doogie Howser games. We were hosting D&D games at our local game shop just for randoms, basically. And it wasn't even for randoms; it was for our group of friends. happened to have a random in the game who wanted to play a gnome. We ended up playing a gnomish archer, if I do recall correctly. It might have been a gnomish rogue too. I don't 100% remember that detail. The detail that I do remember, of course, is his action in the game. So there's a number of player character races that you don't see very often in our games, and generally it's because sometimes people do really stupid things with that race, and we're just like, yeah, no, never again. Sweet, there's a spell I'll never use. I can't even put it on the sideline because I don't have another spell. Yeah, no, that spell is so unreliable. Though granted, it'll do decent damage against Shu, but still. Can't I just keep being the Wizard of Swords? Could have at least given me Blazing Lariat, I'll use that. So at some point or another, we come across a problem in the game. That problem being, we need to figure out how to cross a large chasm. The bridge at the time, the bridge in that area was out, and we need to get across to continue our journey. Okay, maybe in one-on-one scenarios I can use it, but if there's more than one enemy abound, I'm not even gonna touch that spell. That's like asking, hey, would you like to stick that spear in my ear? Oh, perfect, beautiful, it's just what I wanted. Alright, sorry about that. So, while all the rest of us are trying to come up with solutions to cross the bridge, it's like I've got ropes, I've got a grappling hook, you know, I can do this, I can do that, whatever. Everyone's coming up with a plan to get everyone across. So we get to the gnome, and I want everyone to remember that one of the primary rules. God damn it, I used the wrong spell. One of the primary rules of D&D, at least the way I look at it, is you don't ever want to tell someone they can't do something. You can hint to them that it might not be a good idea, but you don't ever tell someone that they can't do something, because that's the whole point of D&D, is you have the freedom to perform whatever action your little heart desires, and as soon as you say, oh, anything except for that, then they're like, oh, it gives them no point to want to continue playing, because now if you're gonna play like that, where certain, you know, any option is available, just not that one, it's like, well, now they might as well be playing a video game. So we don't like to remove people's options, even if the option that they're going with is probably not a smart one. Ooh, a puffy parka. Yes, I'll take that. Cremire the Collector. Hang on. You can have that. I don't want it. I think I'll keep everything else, though. So, let that preface what's about to come next. We typically will let you know if something is a bad idea, but we are not going to flat out tell you that you can't do it. And that extends to bad ideas too, which this one definitely. Oh, if we have it! We have it! Perfect time crystal. Signature damage, charge rate, and decay rate increased. Alright. Oh, and there's Cartographer's Quill. Sweet, we'll come back to that one if we have some more money. And yes, I did see the Magician's Top Hat there, although at the moment that's taking kind of a back seat. Hey, Cardus Prime. Hey, that's very sword-like. We'll take that. So once again, we are the Wizard of Swords. Sweet, I actually made the perfect time crystal. That little mistake actually paid off for me. I know, birds, I know. Isn't it amazing? Alright, and there's one last little area over here. Okay, oh, we got like, what, one room? So it gets to our gnome's turn, and he outlines how he wants to get across the gap. I shit you not, this is his plan. I guess, you know, he must have decided that the Looney Tunes method was the best way about it. So, because he decides, I'm small, right? Is it, yeah, you're a gnome. That's kind of how this works. I'm going to load myself into my longbow, which, by the way, why is a gnome carrying a longbow even as an archer? You can barely wield that thing. I don't think he actually knew how large a longbow was, but, you know, whatever. And he said, hardly the point of the story. So he decides, I'm going to load myself into my longbow and fire myself across. I kind of stopped for a moment and just shook my head and said, boy, we've got other methods, but okay, it's his character, it's his game. Okay, so my buddy, the DM, asks him, are you sure that this is the method, that this is the idea you want to go with? He says yes. We double check to see if other people have, you know, that have other ideas that can help multiple people. And when it's confirmed, well, I mean, yeah, someone else has some ropes. Oh, I forgot the cartographer's quill. I'm a dumbass. Oh well, maybe I'll find something else. Don't throw that wind at me. So again, we confirm, are you sure this is the method you want to go with? He says yes, because, I mean, to be fair, it is funny, and if it works, it's going to look cool. So he once again says, alright, yeah, I want to do this. And then, right before we make our rolls, we double check one more time, are you sure this is the method you want to go with? He's pretty adamant about it, so okay, let's roll it. If you succeed, then you successfully make it across the chasm. But it's going to be harder than usual because you're using such an unusual method. There we go. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't getting smushed by that guy. So right before we have him roll, we ask one more time, and he says, yeah, I want to do this. Alright, so we have him start by rolling dexterity to, you know, properly load himself into his longbow, just this weird, outlandish idea that probably shouldn't have been in the first place, but we're allowing it because we're not telling people that they, you know, you can do anything you want in a tabletop RPG, just not that. No, we're not doing that. So we go, okay, roll dexterity. Of all the things my man can roll, critical fail. Which, because we modeled our edition of D&D off of 2nd edition, critical fail in this case is 20. Which I know is very counterintuitive to the D&D editions that came later, but still. So we go, oh boy, okay, well that's not good. So we have him, since he loaded himself into his bow improperly, we go, yes, I will take that. We go, okay, let's roll an attack roll, maybe there's a way that we can salvage this. And then he rolls then he rolls critical failure, which, by the way, is still a 1. Don't worry. 2nd edition D&D isn't that weird. Sorry, this room was bothering me. Oh, and continues to bother me because that guy has an attack that lingers. You guys are the worst. So, critical failure on dexterity, rolls again, critical failure for his attack roll. Alright, well we now have ourselves an extreme critical situation. Roll a d6. Let's see what happens here. Maybe once again we're thinking maybe my man can salvage this if he doesn't roll incredibly poorly for which direction he accidentally fires himself. No, he fires himself straight down into the chasm that we're trying to jump over in the first place. So in the end, what we had was an idiot gnome who, just for no reason, decided, yeah, I'm gonna fire myself out of my bow and into a hole in the ground. And that ended up becoming the precursor story to why gnomes didn't exist in our world for a little while. And that would be because there was apparently a disease going around that affected gnomes that made it so that they just, that as a rite of passage, they just fire themselves out of bows and, hold on. But also reduces signature charge rate. I'm gonna take it just because so minus 25%. But that boosts my charge rate, so those two things will even out. Just having all my spells with lower cooldowns, I think, will be a good thing. So we ended up explaining it as gnomes ended up contracting this strange disease that makes it so that they feel the need to essentially lemming themselves as a sort of rite of passage. Needless to say, something like that is a damn near extinction level event. So for a long time, gnomes were extinct from our world. I had to convince the DM to let me try making a gnome and seeing if I could do any better. I ended up doing a gnomish engineer who was actually very successful. So, gnomes are alive and well again, but the story about them almost going extinct stuck around. So what we ended up saying is that, hey, a colony of gnomes has been discovered after years of absence. This is a crazy-ass event, and it's just caught everyone off guard. It's like, wait, a real-life gnome? I thought they were dead. But no, apparently as the disease was striking the gnomish population, hold on while I hydrate a little. Ah, lovely. There are a number of gnomish colonies that saw what was going on and said, hey, how about we maybe escape underground so that we don't die? So, gnomes ended up surviving due to... I don't want any of these. Due to that, and now gnomes are alive and well in our world again. Which is great, because I like playing mages, and I also like small characters. And I'm very happy to know that that I can roll up a small character that gets a bonus to intelligence. Thank you, Naya. My little freezing sprite of justice. You are a good friend. Alright, that worked out lovely. Beautiful. And that is the story of how gnomes almost went extinct in our world. And yes, it was essentially because of an idiot player, but again, we aren't going to tell our players that, you can't do that. We're just going to let them know that sometimes your ideas aren't so great. If you decide you want to go through with it anyway, then yeah, be prepared to reap the repercussions. And that's actually one of my buddy's rules, is that if you play a race that we've never seen before, and I know gnomes are a part of the player's handbook, at least in 2nd edition they were. But if you play a race we've never seen before, and that race or your character ends up not doing so well, the only recourse that we have is to assume that this is an example of your entire race, and act accordingly. It might seem harsh and maybe even a little reductive, but I think it's a decent rule to go by, just because sometimes people will just design races just for stupid reasons, or want to use a race to do something really stupid. So it's a rule that was put in place to try to deter people from doing incredibly stupid things. Didn't work this time. But yeah, because of that, I had to design a gnome myself and essentially revive the race. And that gnome, by the way, ended up being a red mage engineer. So we have a magical gnome who designs magical machinery and firearms. So we have someone who makes just about all of her own gear, fires magic out of her guns, which I believe in her case was, because of her size, it was all single-handed firearms, so all handguns. But it still worked out very well. I believe the last time I used her, she had designed a suit of armor with wings to allow her flight. And the last game she was in, she managed to catch up to and hijack a helicopter. So she has her own helicopter now. It's been a while since I've used that character. I would, again, love the chance to play that character again. What do we have here? Destroying, and I don't have a lot of things that destroy enemy projectiles. I'm probably going to have to come back for that health potion, honestly. I don't have any electrical things, so Battery of Tyrannus is not a good idea. Alright, that room went a little better than expected. Ooh, upgrade. Thank you. I was waiting for that. Oh, and you also have Thundering Chain. Oh, I love Thundering Chain. And I can afford it. Alright, I'm not sure if I want to take it, but there it is. Then again, I also need to make sure I can afford a health potion. Alright, so probably not going to be taking Thundering Chain. That's a shame. Alright, there we go. And yes, I'm going to have to buy that health potion. It's a shame, but, you know, survivability is more important than luxury. And right now, my run is actually looking just fine. I just need to remember to use Piercing Void a bit more. Oh my god, he's going left this time. I thought he said he always goes right. Hey, every now and again, a guy's got to do something different. And now my Frost Blades have gone from being short swords to being long swords. That sometimes fire drills and bursts of wind. Phoenix Talent? What does that do? Adds a chance to burn. Oh, okay. That's random. Yes, it is random. About 6.25% chance random, actually. And here's the boss chamber. Perfect. Now, fortunately, after that player, we haven't had anyone else decide they want to do something like really weird like that with one of their characters or a race that they designed. So no more randomly occurring, you know, extinct races. But yeah, that is the tale of how gnomes were almost dead in our world until I revived them with a Magitech Engineer Red Mage Gnome. So if you guys have any stories like that that you want to share, feel free to share them in the comments or in a reply video or something along those lines. And, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be about a stupid player. It could also just be I mean, I guess what I meant to say is it doesn't necessarily have to be about a race going extinct. It could also just be about a really stupid player. Because ultimately that's what this boiled down to, was a really stupid player. There we go. Like I told myself, gotta use that Piercing Void more. Now, I'm sure many of us have interesting stories about... Ooh, Cardus Prime upgrade. Yes, I think I will. I'm sure many of us have interesting stories about just really crappy player characters. And yeah, if you have them, I would love to hear them. Hopefully someone responds in the comments below with a story about a really bad player character. And who knows, maybe we can just sit down and have fun with that, just compare notes. It would be interesting. I'd love to see what sort of bad decisions some of your players have come up with. Whew! So if I do decide to do this, Probably end up being Piercing Void, and no, I'm sorry, I need to continue to be the Wizard of Swords. I mean, look at all the swords I've got on me. You can't possibly take those from me. I would never give up one of my swords. Why are you a wizard with a sword anyway? That's really odd. Besides, most wizards are terrible with martial weapons. Perfect. I love it when a fight goes like that. Alright, what do we have here? Increased health for each enhanced arcana held. Okay, problem. I don't really have anything that I want to give up, but if I did, how am I ever going to get up to maximum health again? And aside from to do the Wonder Twins flawlessly, I somehow don't think that's going to happen, but let's see. Oh god, level 3 Strafe Archer. Have I mentioned that I friggin' hate Strafe Archer on level 3? Okay, yeah, it's a good thing I didn't spend the money on that. Alright, well, I mean, that's one way to get back to full health, but I wouldn't have gotten there if I had purchased the Ironclad card. Owie. Damn it! Could you die now? Okay, that was awful. Went from full health to almost dead. Christ. Now, to be fair, a lot of that was my fault for trying to be overly aggressive, so if I lose to Sura, just remember, it was because I was a dumbass against the Wonder Twins. But they were called the Thunder Twins. Yeah, you tell me. You tell me that they weren't modeled after the Thunder Twins. Lame. Alright. I gotta be more careful now. Alright, play it careful. Play it cool, play it smooth. And don't get hit by stupid shit. Alright, got him. Alright, the Wizard of Swords is victorious! And we have a spell that we didn't even touch! Actually used Blazing Onslaught more than Wind Flurry, so... Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. Alright, well, thank you all very much for watching. I appreciate the time that you give me in my videos. If you would be so kind as to drop a like, leave a comment, do all the fun stuff for me. And like I said, if you have any interesting stories about really bad player characters in D&D, or for that matter, any tabletop RPG, then go ahead and share them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And with that having been said, my name is Dark Sage Walker, and I will be seeing you